Hello, and welcome to the Householder Energy Advice webinar. I am Dom, a sustainability consultant from Groundwork East. We're an environmental charity that helps communities and businesses in becoming more energy efficient and lowering their carbon footprints, as well as helping them with various green projects. The Suffolk Climate Change Partnership consists of Suffolk local authorities who work with other organisations such as Groundwork East and the University of Suffolk to deliver projects. They support Suffolk's communities, businesses and residents to reduce carbon emissions and adapt to the future impacts of climate change. This project is funded by the Suffolk Climate Emergency and Environment Boards through Suffolk's Public Sector Leader. For more information, click on the link below to the SCCP website. In this webinar, we'll start by looking at why you should make your home more energy efficient, and then move on to look at some real-world examples of how others have made their home more energy efficient based on house type. This section includes most house types such as semi-detached, detached, flats, listed buildings, terrace homes and thatched roof homes. Next, we'll look at some energy efficient technologies and materials like the ones listed, and finally we'll end with some funding advice and how you can get more support. So why make your home more energy efficient? Firstly, making your home more efficient will reduce the amount of energy you consume, meaning it will also reduce your carbon emissions and lower your energy bills. If you make your home very energy efficient, it may also appeal more to green buyers who value these types of measures. Through measures such as insulation or improved heating controls, you can also help make your home more comfortable and have additional health benefits. In addition, some measures such as upgrading your windows and doors can help with noise pollution, so there will be COVID benefits if you live in a noisy neighbourhood. I am sure you're all aware of the increases in the price of energy. The table you can see is the average rate a UK household is currently paying. This will be rising again soon. With the energy price increase, it is even more cost effective to increase the energy efficiency of your home. You'll be making savings more quickly. But equally important, a better insulated home will be a lot more comfortable during the colder periods. Saving energy does not have to cost a lot. There are many quick fix solutions to help you save more money while also reducing your carbon emissions. These quick tips can be applied to virtually every home. LEDs are the most efficient bulbs available as they achieve full brightness instantly and are available in almost all fittings and styles. They come in all colours, meaning you can find those similar to traditional incandescent bulbs. They will typically cost around £3 per bulb. Insulating your water tank, pipes and radiators is a quick and easy way to save money on your bills. This can be done in a number of different ways and for a relatively low cost, leading to quick savings. Draft proofing is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to cut energy costs in your home, whether you live in a house or a flat. The aim is to stop cold air coming in and prevent warm air from escaping. This is done by fitting foam, metal or plastic draft strips in areas prone to drafts like windows, doors, floorboards, loft hatches, letterboxes and any other drafty part of your home. We will look at specific examples later on in the webinar. So the first house type we'll look at making more energy efficient are modern, semi-detached and detached homes. Typically, these homes built after 1970 will almost always have cavity walls with cavity wall insulation. It's important to note that cavity wall insulation was first introduced on a wide scale during the 1970s, becoming compulsory in the 1990s for all new UK buildings. If your home was built before the 1990s, it is always worth double checking if your home does have cavity wall insulation. It is also likely that this type of home already benefits from roof insulation. However, it is always worth checking the quality and quantity of it. We will discuss more details on insulation later on in the webinar. Another great measure is checking that your windows are double glazed and the frames are still of good quality. If your home still has the original double glazing, it may be worth upgrading to new double or triple glazing, which will provide much better thermal performance. For a typical semi-detached house, the cost of double glazing is around £7,500. Alternatively, you can purchase thermal window film, which works by reducing the heat and UV rays that penetrate your windows, as well as preventing heat from escaping. These can be found for around £7 per 6 metres squared in DIY shops. If you have a chimney, draft-proofing it using a chimney blocker or capping it can help less heat escape your home while also helping keep pests out. Finally, something we've all probably heard about is solar panels. These are a great way of reducing your energy bills as well as your carbon footprint, since they are a renewable energy source. We'll look at these in more detail later on. One of the easiest ways you can make your terrace home more energy efficient is by reducing the drafts. This can be done by looking at your windows, doors, walls and chimneys. This is a measure that is discussed later on. Since terrace houses are usually older, they often don't have any internal wall insulation. The two main types of walls associated with these homes are solid walls or cavity walls without insulation, if your home was built between the 1930s and 1970s. This means that you could have three different ways of insulating your walls: internal wall insulation, external wall insulation, or cavity wall insulation. More details on this will be provided later on in the webinar. Similarly to semi-detached and detached homes, it is likely that your home will already have roof insulation, but it's always worth checking to see the quality and quantity. Depending on the current windows in your home, it may be worth upgrading these to modern double glazing. If you like the features of your current windows, it is now possible to get bespoke double glazing that match your existing single glazed windows. Alternatively, you can also get another pane of glass fitted behind the existing windows to reduce heat loss. This is called secondary glazing and can cost around £100 to £200 a pane. Once again, thermal film may be suitable. Finally, knowing how to use your heating controls correctly to ensure that you are not wasting energy heating your home can help reduce your bills. There are various types of heating controls, so stay around for more information later on. With flats and apartments, it's best to focus on measures inside your home, as it can be difficult to make exterior changes. Like terrace homes, one of the easiest ways to save energy is by draft proofing. The areas to focus on here are the same, bar the chimney area, as you're unlikely to have one. Once again, double/triple glazing will provide great thermal benefits. Correctly using your heating controls will help avoid wasting energy on heating. Using furniture, rugs, curtains, etc. can help retain heat and use less lighting. For example, putting curtains up behind the front door and windows will provide an extra barrier and prevent drafts. Similarly, organising your room to let in as much light in as possible will help reduce the need to use lighting, which then reduces your energy consumption. The best way to look at a listed house is to consider its own environment, construction, condition and historic significance. So look at the house location and orientation, house design, fabric and services and equipment within your home. Like terrace homes, it is common to find single glazing throughout this type of home, so bespoke double glazing or single glazing can help reduce the heat loss through the windows. This may require permission to do so, so make sure you are checked before carrying out any work. You can do this with your local council. Another measure that we've already mentioned is the thermal secondary glazing film. As we've already spoken about, insulation is key to keeping your home warm. In listed homes, it is likely that you'll have solid walls, so insulating it is best done by internal insulation. Again, draft proofing is a great way to reduce heat loss and is one of the easiest measures. If you have areas in your home where a low ceiling has been removed to create a high voltage ceiling, reinstating this can help reduce your heating bills, as it is then a smaller space to heat, meaning less energy is needed to heat it. Using your heating controls can help avoid wasting energy. Historic England has a great guide on how to make listed homes more energy efficient, which you can find online, or I'll be happy to share if you'd like to get in contact. Finally, we have thatched roof homes. With thatched roof homes, it is important to make sure that the thatch is well maintained and the material for the thatch is appropriate. For example, red thatch will allow for greater air infiltration and heat loss when compared to long straw thatch, which is fixed more tightly against the roof. If you're looking for the middle ground, a combed wheat reed will fall somewhere in between. The maintenance of the thatch is vital, as a better conditioned thatch will provide better insulation qualities. Also, saturated thatch is less effective insulating material, and a roof where water saturates more than the top 50 mm of the material will lose more heat and require greater ventilation. Again, wall insulation, double glazing and draft proofing are the key areas to focus on to reduce energy consumption and bills. We'll now move on to the specific measures, starting with solar panels. So I'm sure you're all aware of solar panels, but you might not know if your home is suitable and how they can help. To begin with, solar panels work by capturing the sun's energy and converts it into electricity they can use in your home. This is a form of renewable energy. Solar PV systems are rated in kilowatts peak, kWp. This is the maximum rate of electricity generation at peak performance, for example, noon on a sunny day with the panel facing directly south. This is what you're likely to see when researching or inquiring about solar panels. The kWp of a solar panel array depends on the size, type, and number of panels, but typically a 3 or 4 kWp array is suitable for your home. Some things to consider when thinking about getting solar panels are: which way does your roof face? Maximum energy generation is achieved when your roof is south facing. However, if your roof is facing east or west, it just means that you'll have around a minus 15% output, while if your roof is facing north, it results in around a minus 30% output. This can be seen on the image on the slide. Another thing to consider is if there are any trees or buildings that cast shadows over the solar panels. Solar panels work by using sunlight, so shadows will reduce the efficiency of the solar panel. All properties can be suitable for solar panels unless the roof area is completely overshadowed to prevent light from reaching the panels. An installer will check to see if your roof is structurally sound and suitable for solar panels. To maximise usage of your generated electricity, run high usage appliances like washing machines and dishwashers during the day. This is when the sun is shining most. Make sure you stagger their use so they're not all running at once, otherwise you will draw energy from both the panels and the grid at the same time. To generate an income from your solar panels, you could sign up for a Smart Export Guarantee tariff. These tariffs pay you for any electricity you generate but don't use, although the amount you will get paid vary from supplier to supplier, so it's important to shop around. For a typical 4.2 kilowatt system, it will cost around £6,500, but the cost is dependent on the kWp of the system. With the October energy price increase, the payback has shortened, and exporting unused energy will provide extra savings. Electrical batteries help you make the most of renewable electricity from solar panels, particularly if you're at work during the day. Solar batteries reduce your dependency on the national grid electricity you use and enable you to store the energy that your solar panels generate. They also enable you to use the electricity they've generated during cloudy days or even at night time. This can save you further costs on your energy bills. If you install a good number of solar panels onto your roof, and there's generally no one around during the day using electricity generated, it may be worth considering your storage options. A battery can also allow you to take advantage of low-rate electricity on the Economy 7 tariff to charge your battery with this cheaper electricity. This can then be used in the day when your electricity is more expensive. To do this, you would have to create a smart storage system. There are also set tariffs for people with solar to enable them to both sell back and charge up at very cheap nighttime rates. If you have an electric car, you may want to look into this. The cost of a 4 kilowatt-hour battery is around £5,000 with a lifespan of up to 15 years, though both the cost and lifespan of the battery will differ depending on the size. An inverter will be around £800 with a lifespan of 12 years. Moving on, roof insulation is a great way of reducing the heat loss in your home. Around a quarter of heat is lost through the roof in an uninsulated home. Insulating your loft, attic or flat roof is a simple and effective way to reduce heat loss and reduce your heating bills. Standard loft insulation is appropriate for most homes when rolls of insulation are laid over the floor joists. Generally speaking, if your home has an accessible loft with no damp or condensation, it will be a good candidate for loft insulation. The recommended depth for mineral wool insulation, the most common material, is 270mm, while there are other materials which are usually more expensive that require different depths. For example, Insulation boards have the best thermal values when they are 150mm thick, and spray foam works best at 120mm of rigid foam. If your loft has been converted, or you want to convert your loft into a habitable space, you'll need to install in-roof insulation, which involves fitting insulating material between and over the rafters, the sloping timbers that make up the roof itself. There are two main roof insulation types: warm deck and cold deck. Warm deck insulation is where a layer of insulation is laid on top of the existing roof deck with a vapour barrier in between to prevent condensation buildup. Cold deck insulation is where the internal ceiling is removed and either mineral fibre or rigid insulation boards are added between the roof deck and the ceiling, with at least a 50mm gap between the insulation and the deck. The cost of insulation for a typical 3-bedroom semi-detached home is around £530. The next insulation type is wall insulation. This is another great heat loss reduction measure. A house with no insulation loses approximately 40% of its heat through the walls. Insulating these walls keeps the warmth in the home for longer and makes the home more comfortable and cheaper to heat. This will ultimately help lower bills. There are three main types of insulation: cavity wall, internal and external insulation. If your home was built after the 1930s, the chances are that its external walls are made of two skins with a small gap between them. This means they are cavity walls, and the gap between them can be filled with insulated material to stop the warmth from escaping to the outside. External solid wall insulation involves adding a layer of insulated material to the outside walls of the building and coating this with a protective render or cladding. It may be particularly suitable if you want to avoid any loss of space or disruption of the work going on inside your house. This may require permission to do so, so make sure to check with your local planning permission. Internal insulation involves fitting rigid insulation boards to the wall, or by building a stud wall filled in with insulation material such as mineral wool fibre. It is generally cheaper than external solid wall insulation, but will require your rooms to be smaller and can be much more disruptive, as it requires skirting boards, door frames and external fittings to be removed and reattached. The cost of insulation for a 3-bedroom semi-detached house is around £1,200 for cavity wall insulation, £14,000 for external wall insulation and £10,000 for internal wall insulation. Now we will look at alternative heating systems. Like I said earlier, heat pumps work by absorbing and compressing naturally occurring heat from the air, earth or water outside to heat your home and water. Heat pumps use a small amount of electricity but often achieve a 200 to 600% efficiency rate, whereas an A-rated gas boiler scores around a 90% efficiency. There are various different types depending on the source of heat and the use of that heat in your home. It's important to note that they work best if your home is well insulated throughout, so you should first focus on insulation and draft proofing your home before going down the route of installing a heat pump. The two heat pumps you see right now are an air source heat pump on the left and a ground source heat pump on the right. Differences are that an air source heat pump extracts heat from the air and can be mounted, whereas a ground source heat pump extracts heat from the soil and uses a series of pipes underground to do so. Ground source heat pump pipes can be laid in a trench like on screen, or by boreholes if you do not have the space for a trench formation. Both can be used to provide heating and domestic hot water to your home. The delivery of heat can be via blown air or through your current wet system, although if you design the system from scratch, they work best by delivering the heat via underfloor heating and larger sized radiators. Heat pumps work well when accompanied by solar panels, as the electricity generated by solar can be used to heat your home. However, where solar generated electricity is at its peak is when the demand for heating is at its lowest. So using a battery storage is a good option to store the energy for when the heating is required. Right now, you can see the potential cost savings by installing an air source heat pump. As you can see, Replacing a new aerated gas or oil boiler may not result in savings due to the current price of electricity and the efficiencies of the boiler. However, estimated savings are made for all other types of heating methods, especially electric storage heaters, as heat pumps are a far more efficient form of electric heating when compared to these. In terms of carbon savings, a heat pump will provide carbon savings when compared to all of the seen heating methods because of the great efficiency of it. Typically, for an air source heat pump it will cost around £10,000, with a ground source heat pump costing between £10,000 and £18,000. Difference in cost is mostly related to the ground source requiring digging of your land. It is good to note that there are currently grants available for these, such as the Boiler Upgrade Scheme, which offers £5,000 off an air source heat pump or £6,000 off a ground source heat pump. The expected payback on a heat pump if you have a G-rated gas boiler and secure the grant funding for an air source heat pump is approximately 5 years, assuming the air source heat pump costs £7,000. For a new electric storage heating system under the same scenario, this is approximately 2.25 years. For a G-rated oil system, this is around 3.4 years. Using heating controls correctly can reduce your energy consumption by avoiding wasting heat. In nearly all homes, you should have a room thermostat that allows you to set a desired temperature, and it will tell the boiler to come on until that room temperature is reached. Once reached, the thermostat will tell the heating to turn off again. Next, we have the thermostatic radiator valves, or TRVs, which allow you to adjust the temperature of individual radiators and turn them off completely. These can be used if you don't want to heat a specific room. It's important to note that some heat needs to enter rooms to avoid issues such as condensation. The programmer allows you to automate the times at which the boiler comes on and off. A standard programmer will allow you to set the boiler to come on at the same times each day. This is great if you want to heat the house, for example, after a day at work or in the morning just after you wake. Smart thermostats are the newest type of heating control here. They allow you to control the temperature in your home when you're not there, for example, from your smartphone or tablet. This is similar to the programmer. DIY insulation. Some insulation you may be able to do yourself, such as installing a cylinder jacket, insulating a hot water cylinder pipework, and installing radiator reflector panels. Insulating a hot water cylinder and pipework. A hot water cylinder jacket costs around £15, and fitting it is a straightforward job if you follow the manufacturer's instructions. Pipe insulation consists of a foam tube that covers the exposed pipes between your hot water cylinder and the boiler. Radiator reflector panels. Fixed behind your radiators, they reflect heat from the radiator back into the room instead of letting the heat out through the external wall. They can produce the most benefit when installed on uninsulated solid walls. Remember, you only need to put radiator reflector panels behind radiators on external walls. Cylinder jacket. If you already have a cylinder jacket fitted around your tank, check the thickness. It should be around 80mm thick. If it isn't, consider buying a new one. Topping up your hot water tank insulation from 25mm to 85mm will provide great heat loss benefits. Draft proofing is one of the cheapest and easiest ways to cut energy costs in your home. The aim is to stop cold air coming in and prevent warm air from escaping. So some of the methods you can use for windows are to use foam, metal or plastic draft strips or brush seals for sash windows. For exterior doors, fit brush or hinged flap draft excluders fitted along the bottom of the doors. For interior doors, cut the drafts with snake draft excluders, brushes or similar strips of material. For unused chimneys, fit a chimney draft excluder or plastic bags stuffed with other plastic bags. Remember to remove them and let the air circulate in the summer. For floorboards and skirting boards, fill the gaps with flexible fillers, clear or brown silicone mastic or decorator's cork. Redundant extractor fan outlets, these can be blocked up. For loft hatches, use strips of draft excluding material fitted around the edges of the frame, and don't forget to insulate the hatch itself. Around the pipework, apply silicone mastic, wool filler or expanding foam as appropriate. Lighting and electrical fittings, plug the gap around the fittings with wool filler. For letterboxes, fit flaps, brushes to keep the cold air out and the warm air in. Here are some examples of the methods mentioned: for the sash windows, for the chimneys, for the doors, and for the letterboxes. Changing the way you do certain things around the house can also provide some great energy saving results. In the kitchen, only fill the kettle with the amount of water you need. Filling up a washing up bowl rather than washing up under a running tap will help save water and energy. Cut down on the number of washing you do by waiting until you have a full load. Setting your machine to wash at 30 degrees uses 57% less electricity than at a higher temperature. Line dry your clothes by hanging them outside or inside on a clothes horse. If you have a gas hob, you could also swap this for an induction hob. This isn't free, but you can purchase a tabletop induction hob for as little as £30, and they use 57% less energy than gas hobs. In the bathroom, spending one less minute in the shower each day. Around the house, remember to turn the lights off whenever you leave a room. Switching appliances off at the plug. Putting a jumper on and turning your thermostat down by 1 degree in the winter. All of these can help you save some energy. Another no-cost measure to help keep a healthy home is ventilation. It is important to ventilate your home, as poor ventilation can result in harmful pollutants and moisture being trapped in the property, which in turn can damage the health of the people and the house itself. Some ways you can ventilate your home: always leave the trickle vents open and unblocked, even in the winter. You'll use a little more energy to heat your home, but have fresh air to prevent illnesses. Where possible, leave doors between rooms open to ensure cross ventilation. This will further improve the amount of fresh air drawn into the building. Regularly clean extractor fans in the bathroom and kitchens. There are a number of different ways you can get support with paying your energy bills. To begin with, it may be best to see the Citizens Advice website, where they have a summary of all the support available. Something which you all should have received right now is the government support towards your energy bill. The government will give every household £400 off their electricity bill. This is called the Energy Bill Support Scheme. You don't need to do anything to get the money, and you won't have to pay it back. You'll get £400 in 6 instalments starting from October 2022. You'll get £66 in October and November, and £67 in December, January, February and March. Another scheme available is the Warm Home Discount Scheme. If you get benefits, you may be able to get £150 off your electricity bill, or £150 added to a prepayment meter. You don't need to apply for the scheme, payments are automatic. Also, British Gas are offering grants even if you aren't a customer. See their website for more details. If you want to make energy efficient changes in your home, it is good to know that there are currently grants available. The first grant is the Boiler Upgrade Scheme, which provides upfront capital grants to support the installation of heat pumps and, in some cases, biomass boilers in homes. You would get £5,000 off the cost and installation of an air source heat pump, £5,000 off the cost and installation of a biomass boiler, and £6,000 off the cost of a ground source heat pump, including water source heat pumps. Next, we have the Energy Company Obligation. This is a scheme that requires energy suppliers to improve energy efficiency in UK homes. To be eligible, you need to be claiming benefits or have an income under the threshold. This varies depending on the number of people in the homes. Also, your property must have an EPC rating of D, E, F or G. For some Suffolk-specific help, Warm Home Suffolk can provide advice and funding to help get your home more energy efficient. Some of the projects they can help with are loft and wall insulation, installing energy efficient air source heat pumps and solar panels. You can be eligible for help if you don't have a gas central heating and a gross household income from all sources of everyone in the property of less than £30,000. They particularly want to hear from you if you live in a home with an EPC rating band D, E, F or G. Landlords whose tenants qualify for support can receive up to 2/3 subsidy of all costs for improvement works. So if you're renting, then let your landlord know about this support too. Here at Groundwork, we are also offering home energy advice support tailored to your home. This can be in the form of an email or telephone call. The link at the bottom will take you to our Home Energy Audit Questionnaire, where you can tell us more about your home so we can tailor the advice we give. If you decide to do this, please remember to give your email at the end of the audit, as this will allow us to return it to you. There are now only 60 places left for this service, so make sure to get in touch. My email address can be found on screen to get more details. That is dominic.simpson@groundwork.org.uk. Thank you for following through. If you want any questions answered, then please do get in touch with me at dominic.simpson@groundwork.org.uk. Here I can answer any questions you may have.